Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into some 17th century drama?
Always up for a good play.
Well, today we're taking a look at The English Moor, or The Mock Marriage by Richard Brome.
Ooh.
It's a comedy
Uh-huh.
with a little bite to it.
I like it.
Yeah. So picture this. England, 1659.
Right?
Monarchy's back theaters are open, and Brome is serving up this comedy with a side of social satire.
Sounds delicious.
I know, right? And we've got all our research and notes here, so let's try to untangle this play's crazy plot, its wild characters, and see what it means for us even 400 years later.
Well, one of the things that always strikes me about Brome is how he uses comedy to tackle these really serious issues.
Yeah.
The English Moor, it revolves around these two families, the Meanwells and the Rashleys,
Okay.
locked in this deadly feud after the father's duel.
Feuding families. I mean, talk about a Shakespearean soap opera.
It's true.
Yeah.
And these feuds were incredibly common back then.
Where you like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It reflects this obsession with honor and reputation, but Brome doesn't just present the drama, you know? He uses it to question this whole idea of revenge. Like, is it ever truly satisfying? Or does it just create more pain?
He's really making us think, not just laugh.
Exactly.
But of course, no good feud is complete without little forbidden romance, right?
Of course.
Enter Arthur Meanwell and Lucy Rashley.
All right.
The children of our warring families deeply in love.
Ah, young love. Now, Arthur,
Yeah.
he's consumed by grief over his father's death.
Right.
But his servant Ralph suggests that maybe his melancholy might be more about Lucy than dear old dad.
Ooh, sneaky servant spilling the tea.
Exactly.
Things are already getting juicy,
Yeah.
but it gets wilder.
Oh, no.
Lucy's brother Theophilus gets tricked into a sham marriage
God.
with the very wealthy but scheming Millicent.
Now, this mock marriage, this is a big deal.
Why?
Well, you have to remember, for women in the 17th century, marriage wasn't just about love.
Right.
It was about their legal and social standing.
Oh, I see.
So, Millicent being trapped in this marriage, it exposes how vulnerable women were back then.
So Brome is using this kind of crazy plot point to say something about the power dynamics of his time.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. And just when you think it can't get more complicated, Arthur's sister Dionysia enters the scene furious that her brother might be in love with the enemy's daughter.
No, Dionysia,
Oh boy.
she embodies this idea of tradition and family loyalty taken to the extreme.
To the extreme.
Yeah. Her thirst for revenge shows how deeply these feuds could run, affecting everyone around them. Can you imagine the pressure?
Now this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, listen.
Millicent, trapped in this marriage, she strikes a deal with her elderly husband Quicksands.
Oh.
Get this. She'll disguise herself as a blackamoor servant for a month.
Whoa. It's shocking to us, right? But it was actually a common theatrical convention at the time.
Really?
Yeah, using blackface, which obviously raises all sorts of questions about how race was perceived and portrayed on the English stage back then.
It makes you think about how we approach these same sensitive topics today.
Right. It's a completely different world.
Absolutely. But let's get back to the play.
Okay.
Poor Theophilus, heartbroken over losing Millicent.
Yeah.
He gets his revenge in a spectacularly embarrassing way. His friends stage a cuckold's mask outside Quicksand's house on his wedding night.
You have to understand, this wasn't just a prank.
No.
No. It was a public shaming ritual
Oh, wow.
tied to all these anxieties about masculinity and social status.
Really?
Brome is satirizing these fears, showing how ridiculous they can be,
Yeah.
but also how deeply they impacted people's lives.
He's making fun of them, but also showing us how these anxieties shape their behavior.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, look how silly this is, but also look how seriously they take it.
It's brilliant. Now, hold on to your hats because Quicksands has a secret weapon. A son he's kept hidden away because he's considered an idiot.
Oh, wow.
Now, this subplot, it highlights the stigma surrounding disability in that era.
It's heartbreaking to think about how people with disabilities were treated back then.
It is. But Brome uses humor to address this really serious issue.
It's almost like he's challenging the audience to confront their own prejudices.
He's definitely making us question what it means to be normal and who gets to decide that. And guess what? His former servant, Buzzard, sees an opportunity to exploit Quicksands.
This is getting good.
I know. It's a reminder that even in this world of strict social rules, there were always those ready to exploit any weakness.
Oh, absolutely.
This play is like a tangled web of secrets and schemes. Everyone is trying to outsmart each other.
It's true.
It's amazing how Brome weaves together comedy and social critique, making you laugh 1 minute and then really think the next.
And just wait until we get to the climax. Everything unravels in a whirlwind of revelations and reversals. But we'll save that for the next part of our deep dive.
Ooh, I can't wait. Stay tuned, everyone.
Welcome back. Last time we were talking about quicksands and his hidden son.
Right.
And it really makes you think about societal norms back then, right?
Absolutely. It's like Brome is saying, hey, look how quick people are to judge and exclude anyone who doesn't fit in. But here's the thing. Even in this world of strict social hierarchies, someone like Buzzard, a servant, can use this knowledge to gain power.
Precisely. It shows that power wasn't always so straightforward. But speaking of cunning maneuvers, let's talk about Millicent.
Okay.
She doesn't just sit back and accept her fate in this unwanted marriage, does she?
Definitely not. She takes control. She uses her intelligence and wit to escape. It's like she goes from blushing bride to rebellious wife to vanished, presumed dead. It's almost as if she uses society's expectations of women to her advantage.
You're right. Her transformation is one of the most fascinating things about the play. Remember her decision to disguise herself as a blackamoor servant?
Oh yeah, that was a risky move, considering how race was viewed back then.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder what Brome was trying to say with his disguise.
Right.
Is he commenting on racial prejudice? Or is he using it to highlight how absurd it is to judge people based on how they look?
It's a complex issue, and Brome doesn't offer any easy answers. But by putting a white woman in blackface on stage, he forces the audience to confront their own perceptions of race and identity.
Yeah, it's a bold move even for a comedy.
It really is.
And it definitely sparks a conversation about how far we've come or haven't come in terms of racial equality. But let's not forget about poor Theophilus. Imagine the humiliation of having a cuckold's mask performed outside your house on your wedding night. What does this say about public image back then?
Well, remember, a man's reputation was everything back then. This mask wasn't just a joke, it was a public shaming ritual.
Really?
Tied to all these anxieties about masculinity and social status, Brome uses it to poke fun at those anxieties, but also highlight their very real consequences.
So he's making fun of them, but also showing how those anxieties shape their behavior.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, look how fragile this whole system is built on appearances and fear of social disgrace.
It's fascinating. Now back to Quicksands. He's desperate to escape his marriage to Millicent after her supposed death. He even tries to divorce her, even though she's technically still alive. This shows how much emphasis was placed on the legal and social aspects of marriage back then.
It does. It's as if he's trying to erase her completely, not just physically, but legally as well.
Wow. And then there's Dionysia, Arthur's sister.
Oh yes, Dionysia.
She's a force to be reckoned with. She embodies those rigid social norms of the time. Her fierce loyalty to her family and her thirst for revenge against the Rashleys, it's almost frightening.
It is intense.
I can't help but think about how different her reaction would be today. Would she be as quick to condemn her brother's love for Lucy? Or would she be more understanding, more open to reconciliation?
It's a great question, and it shows how much societal values have shifted over time. But in Brome's world, Dionysia's reaction, while extreme, was completely in line with the expectations placed on women.
I see.
They were supposed to uphold family honor, even if it meant sacrificing their own happiness.
It's a reminder that even in a comedy, Brome isn't afraid to explore gender roles and social expectations.
Not at all.
And just wait. The play's resolution is coming up. It's a whirlwind of revelations and reversals that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about these characters.
We'll delve into all of that in the next part of our deep dive.
It's going to be good. Stay tuned, everyone. Okay, so we're back and ready to unravel this ending to The English Moor.
It's a wild one.
Last time we were talking about how Brome uses this play to examine all these societal norms and expectations.
Yeah, he really digs into that stuff.
He does, and the ending really brings all those themes together in a surprising way.
Yeah.
Remember those feuding fathers?
Oh yeah, the ones who supposedly died?
Yeah. Well, guess what? They're not actually dead.
What?
They faked their deaths to teach their sons a lesson about revenge.
No way. So they staged this whole elaborate scheme to manipulate their sons into letting go of this feud.
They did. Pretty extreme parenting, even for the 17th century, right?
That's putting it mildly. But it does make you think about what was important back then. They were so desperate to stop the cycle of violence that had consumed their families.
I could see that. It makes you wonder, though, if their deception was justified. I mean, they caused a lot of pain and suffering in the process.
Right. It's a real moral dilemma Brome lays out for the audience to consider.
Yeah, like, is it ever okay to lie even for a good cause?
Yeah.
Do the ends justify the means?
Big questions. No easy answers.
True life is messy, and sometimes even the best intentions lead to complications. Speaking of complicated, what about Millicent? She pulls off that incredible Blackamoor disguise, disappears, and then reappears at the end, reunited with Theophilus.
It's quite a journey.
It is. And it's all about challenging expectations. She starts as this seemingly powerless woman stuck in this marriage she doesn't want.
Right.
But then through her intelligence and wit, she breaks free, transforms herself to take control of her own destiny.
It's amazing.
It is. And she ends up with the guy she loves.
So a happy ending.
Well, on the surface, yes. But you have to think about how she gets there. She achieves this happiness by playing by society's rules.
That's true.
She has to conform to certain expectations to find love and acceptance.
So Brome leaves us wondering if true freedom is even possible within those limitations.
Exactly. It's a question that still resonates today. And then there's Dionysia.
Oh, Dionysia.
She's been so focused on anger and revenge, but even she softens at the end when she sees her brother happy.
She does have a change of heart.
Yeah. And Dionysia represents that rigid social code of the time, right? But by the end, it's like there's a glimmer of hope.
Like she's realizing that holding on to the past only brings pain.
And it's such a subtle but powerful moment. It suggests that even the hardest hearts can be touched by love and forgiveness.
It's a beautiful message.
It is. And let's not forget about the comedy in all of this. Brome uses humor to explore these really complex themes, making the audience laugh while challenging their beliefs.
He was so good at that.
He was. It's like he's saying, hey, let's not take ourselves too seriously. Let's laugh at ourselves and find the joy, even in the midst of all the chaos.
I think that's a great lesson for us all.
So after this deep dive into the English Moor, what's the takeaway for our listeners today?
I think this play reminds us that human nature really hasn't changed that much. We still struggle with love, family, societal pressures, and the desire for freedom and belonging.
All still relevant.
Absolutely. And it shows how art, even comedy, can hold up a mirror to society. It makes us confront uncomfortable truths, but still find those moments of humor and hope.
The English Moor. It's a wild trip through 17th century London.
It is.
But it's also a journey into the human heart. A journey that's still relevant and insightful even today.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So if you're looking for a play that will make you laugh, think, and question everything you thought you knew about love, family, and society,
check it out.
The English Moor, it's a deep dive you won't regret. Thanks for joining us, everyone.